Well, thanks for staying with us for the second half of conversation as it concerns the political concerns making the rounds. Now, the All Progressive Congress has been much of the focus in recent times, with the newly dubbed Hurricane Tinubu, with massive defections sweeping across other political parties. Now, majorly in the Niger Delta, there are two Niger Delta governors who have also dumped the umbrella of the People's Democratic Party for the broom of the APC. Joining us virtually from Abuja, Dr. Chukwueme Kennedy joins us to x-ray this and also talk about the broad implications of an APC senator drumming caution on the need for governance over endorsements and defections ahead of the 2027 general elections. Hello, Dr. Kennedy. Good morning to you and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning for having me.
It's a pleasure. Let's begin with this much talked about Hurricane Tinubu. It's no news that the president and his party is strategizing for 2027. And it almost seems as though political elites in other parties are endorsing him, a move which is not first new to the political landscape, but in terms of how much it affects the outcomes of an election, how much of a good sign or an omen is this mass wave of defections?
If we are actually looking at endorsements, what is the implication of endorsements? In the context of Nigeria, endorsement implies how much comes into your pocket. You understand? So how much comes?
I don't get you, Dr. Kennedy. How much comes into my pocket or the pocket of the DCAMP?
Your own pocket.
As a Nigerian.
Yes, will determine whether you are going to endorse or not. You know, so it doesn't mean anything. In 2015, if you are a student of history, you know about 22 governors endorsed Jonathan, and what about 36 states? So what happened? Did he win the election? He didn't. So endorsement is a personal thing. You know, just give me the money and I just come on air and endorse you. Does it imply anything? Does it mean winning an election? It doesn't.
But when you have a sitting governor, the camp, and outrightly endorse a president, and also give an ultimatum to his functionaries to come along with him, does this form some sort of structure within the state to ensure that party machineries would work for the outcome of the president in his re-election bid?
Okay, let us look, for instance, in 2023 general election, in Lagos State was an APC state. What happened? Did APC did they win Lagos State? They didn't. You understand? So endorsement does not actually mean. Look, I was speaking with somebody about this some of these south states moving to the APC. Look, the main issue here is that they are afraid that some of them may lose their seats if they don't come out openly to endorse the current president. So for them coming out to endorse the current president, we simply signifies them having their seats unopposed. Now, if they remain in PDP, they are going to have problem in the long run. One, the problem that the current FCT minister is bringing to the PDP may make the incumbent PDP governor have a problem. One, who is going to sign his ticket? Because his nomination form will be signed by the secretary. If, for instance, Mwike and his team now said that because of the fraction they now have in the PDP, now said that person who signed the nomination, the secretary that signed his nomination form, is not the authentic secretary. What will happen? They will now go to court. So before you know, he has lost his seat, or before the court will now grant him access, time has gone. So the best thing for them now to do, because gaining ground and winning the election, is to come back to APC and relax. But that does not mean indirectly that they are supporting the current president.
Now, this has taken toll beyond just state governors. In the symbol of our democracy, which is the parliament, we've also seen technically 2/3 of both the upper and lower legislative chambers tilting towards the APC. In the Senate, they announced 68 senators who are by default APC members, whilst in the House of Representatives, there are 207 who are now APC members as well. Now technically, when you put issues on the floor to a voice vote, you need 2/3 of the majority to concur for it to be passed into law. Once you have the ruling party making up for 2/3, does it technically still mean 2/3?
Okay, let us actually look at it from if you look at it from a broader perspective. You see, most of these persons are afraid of their seats. Look, if you take the Lagos template as a study, you see that it implies a state capturing. When you capture a state like Lagos, no, there is no meaningful opposition in Lagos. So the same thing is also from micro level. It's also applied at the macro level. So the same government who have been controlling Lagos over time has also come to the macro level to also control the state. So they're trying to play that thing that happened in Lagos in the macro level. But I'm telling you, those people who are coming out to come and support or to join the president, they don't even mean well for him. But look into their heart, they are not even supporting. Because this thing will crash. This thing happened in the First Republic, also in the Second Republic. When you try to centralize government, when you centralize the government, what will happen at the long run is crash of interest, and many people will fall out, and this will lead to the end of this government in the long run.
Now Dr. Kennedy, I must agree with you on that, because how do you manage ambitions where you had card-carrying members who before now have been APC members, not just in the last election, but over time since the APC was amalgamated? Now you have new members who are current either sitting or federal lawmakers who are nursing second-term ambitions. Do you now jettison the ambitions of the former who have been with the party since inception to accommodate this decampees with new interests? How do you manage such a situation to stop the party from imploding?
There is no how we are going to manage that situation. The situation is going to explode in the long run. There is no two ways about it. If it doesn't, because now some members who just decamp and just come into the APC now, and there are people who have been working for the APC for a very long time that wanting to benefit. You now come today to take over my seat, then I'll be happy with you. Then I will move to the opposition party at the long run. Because what they're going to do now, at the very time when tickets are being given to these new persons who have actually come into the office to take over their seat, they're going to move to other party, and this may cause a problem to the ruling party. And two again, some of these persons who are the campees going to this APC, how honest are they? Do they actually know them? Do they actually know if they are spies? Nobody knows if they are spies. Nobody knows who they are working for. So these are issues we're going to look, because they may also come and kill the party. So in the long run, this thing is going to explode. There's no two ways about it. And I'm telling you today, we're going to see it. Now it's going to lead to the cancellation of the 2027 election, or these persons may lose their seat.
Now, this is your political prophecy. With time, would revisit it and find out how it fares. Well, let's talk about some opposition parties, because they're also witnessing decampees as well. Now, yesterday, we saw a new banner under the People's Democratic Party that read, "Concerned PDP stakeholders." We were also told that it was convened by the FCT Minister, by Nyesom Wike. It also pulled together the famous G5 governors there. We saw the former governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom. We also saw that of Enugu State and Abia State as well, joining in the meeting. Mind you, there is also supposed to be a remediation PDP banner, which the former Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, is supposed to reconcile aggrieved parties. I don't know which is holding the upper hand now, the former Senate President or the FCT Minister, in this concerned effort to get the PDP back in shape before 2027.
This is all about money bag. You understand? And when you look at these G5 governors, can you tell me their duty, their work, or their profession, other than politics? See, they are afraid of losing their seats, or they are afraid of not being in government, because they don't have any other business apart from being in government. Wike, for instance, does he own any business? Has he ever been a businessman? Have they ever handled a business? So these persons are afraid of losing their seat. They are afraid of not being in government. So anything humanly possible, they want to do it. They want to make sure that they are in seat. So Wike will fight till death, because he knows, one, if he leave APC, For instance, if he's not in APC now, what job do you think Wike would have been doing now?
No, but technically he's still a PDP card carrying member. And he has said that there's no opposition party that would go without trials and tribulations. And he's begging the concerned stakeholders to stick together and weather the storm, despite him working for the APC government, being a PDP card carrying member.
That's what I'm telling you now. You know, it is not the day that a child break pot that is being flogged by the parents. Sometimes the parents will just leave him and stay for a very long time. They will handle him.
This is your analogy, though.
They will handle him and they will deal with him. It's not now. So just watch and see what is going to play. So what he's actually playing is money back. You know,
now
who pays the highest? So if Wike can pay them very good money, they will remain there in the opposition with him. So those persons will not leave PDP. They will remain in PDP and also in APC. Because they're also benefiting from APC because they're also having contract from Wike. So who are you going to support? You're going to support whatever party that everything, whatever they do is just for stomach infrastructure. Nigerian politicians have no ideology because if actually they have an ideology, you know that PDP have an ideology and also APC also will have their own ideology. So you see, these just ideological differences. Nigerian politicians have no word ideology.
Now, the new Nigerian People's Party, or should I say the Kwankwasia movement, has also been rocked by a couple of defections. Two NNPP reps have also defected to the APC, citing some trouble in the NNPP. The Kwankwasia movement is also one that is vying for the seat of presidency and going into 2027 is talking about how much they performed in 2023 and could be a formula for replication. Do you also see them being rocked by these defections as well?
Yeah, I think all the parties also have been facing the same thing. I just told you, like, it's just the Lagos template that is playing, whereby everybody will move towards one party system in Lagos. And you can see how Lagos has been underdeveloped. So in this place too, the president will call you, or those in power will call you and say, look, we are going to support your election if actually you come to support us. And those persons, what do? They'll give them money. And in giving them money, they'll move towards the APC. And so that they'll make that, to see that the APC becomes one of the strongest party in Nigeria to win the next election. Because actually, if you look at the APC, has nothing to offer to Nigerians for now. Instead of them to consolidate on delivering the dividend of democracy to the people, what they are interested in state capturing so that everybody becomes a member of the APC. So these things will continue to play, and it will finally break at the 11th hour. So I assure you that is going to happen.
Now let's move on to another talking point. An APC senator, Senator Ndume, has been very vocal in what many say is a thin line between being conscientized and being anti-party. He has cautioned his own party on the need for governance despite defections. Do you see the APC sort of falling out with Senator Ndume, or do you see him as the voice crying in the wilderness?
Yeah, Senator Ndume has been like that over time, even during the time of Buhari. He has been speaking. The thing is that we should understand one thing. In the north, there is underreporting of insecurity in the north, and if you go to the north, most places they do not even the number of those in the IDP camp are continue to increase over a period of time since the inception of this government. It has not reduced, and Senator Ndume is one of the persons that have fallen out from the camp of the cabal of the APC, because he has tried one way or the other to like let them know that this is not actually happening, and try to like report cases of what is happening in the APC, what is happening with respect to insecurity and corruption within the party. So these things have over time are beginning to linger. So what they did was to fall out with Senator Ndume, and two, if you also dig deep, there are more to it, because I'm also sure that Senator Ndume have not had any contracts since the inception of this government. They have taken me out, and by so doing, he's also continuing to complain because he has no money much to give to his people in the constituency. So he continues to cry and cry. So this is what is going to continue to play from now till the 2027 general election.
Now, I'm talking about the assessments of the APC-run government. It's been 2 years, and 2 years down the line, the criticism has been on the impacts of certain policy decisions on the quality of life of Nigerians. If I'm to quote what Senator Ndume said, he talked about having nothing to offer to Nigerians. That's what he has tagged his party. And mind you, such rhetorics have also earned him a suspension in the red chambers and also a removal as chief whip at some point owing to such rhetorics. How do you assess the performance of APC on the one hand and the rhetorics of Senator Ndume, which has earned him some notoriety?
But if we actually look at the performance of APC, we actually look at it vis-a-vis their manifesto. Or you look at Bola Tinubu, what he said he will continue from where Tinubu stopped. So if he continue from where Tinubu stopped, we can see there is...
You mean the then government of President Muhammadu Buhari?
He said he will continue. That was the promise he made, that he will continue from where President Muhammadu Buhari stopped. And where did he stop? Muhammadu Buhari did partial subsidy removal. So he did complete, Then we talk about high price of things. The price was relatively low, so he increased it. Then if you look at cost of transportation was also down, he has increased it. Look at unemployment, he has increased it. Then we look at multi-dimensional poverty, he has also increased it. So insecurity too, he has also increased it. So what he's just doing is to consolidate on what President Muhammad Buhari have done. And this have not gone on well with most senators, most especially in Ndume, who have been working, who have been vocal in the north. Because one, Ndume was not even in support of this government coming. He was in another camp. So he has never been in support of Bola Tinubu, APC government. He was among the CPC set of APC. So he has been critic of this current government, and he has been continued to be critic of Tinubu himself and those cabals surrounding Tinubu. Now he has fallen out from the main APC, so he will also continue to talk from now till 2027 general election. So who knows if we're able to have a re-election, if they will not take him out. But I'm very, very sure from now to 2027 general election, Senator Ndume, if Tinubu is coming back, I'm not sure Senator Ndume will be able to come back to the APC or to come back to the Senate again.
And now let's talk about the policies in themselves, because even the Labour Party's presidential candidate in 2023, Mr. Peter Obi, also drew some fire from the presidency in his opinion on how to approach fuel subsidy removal and the Naira flotation. He says that the current administration has gone about it haphazardly. I don't know in terms of your judgments of the Naira stability, because if you're talking about where it was before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into office, it has more than doubled in exchange rate figures. And we're told by financial experts that over time it might just stabilize at 1,600, between 1,650 Naira. Do you see some different approach that could have seen these figures placed differently?
What you're going to see now is a substantial increase from now to 2027 general election. Because one, if we actually want to bring about stability in the Naira or stability in the economy, we have to go deep into production. We have to invest in critical infrastructure, in critical sector in the economy. One, education, health, agriculture, and security. These are areas the government actually need to invest. For instance, if we invest in security and we're able to
Dr. Kennedy, hold up. When you say invest, let's also carry our viewers along, because over time, if you look at our appropriations via the budget, these sectors you have called, apart from education, get the largest chunk of the budget. Security is always top. So when you talk about investment, is it still with budgetary allocations, or what do you mean?
Okay, if we look at investments, we are not looking at investment in vis-a-vis increasing the volume of the budget. We are also looking at investment in terms of using a sophisticated weapon, using drones in our security to boost the morale for our security. Instead of men going into the field, you can now use drone to attack those headers. But
you know, over time, the debates on the purchase of Tucano jets have raised some dust as well. And how much we would need to acquire one Tucano jet to be able to equip our troops with the much needed incentives to fight terrorism.
I think what the government have to do is to fight the criminality. Because there's a cartel, there's a cabal. In fact, there is a market within the security sector. So if the government have to disable or have the political willpower to fight this the cabal, that is the market, the cartel, I think everything will stabilize, because they know where they are keeping those money, because most of the money they give in this to fight insecurity are not actually going to insecurity. It goes to the hands of those military officers, politicians, and so on and so forth.
As alleged, let's use the word alleged when we make comments.
As alleged. Because both of us, we have not seen anything.
Now I'm talking about this insecurity. The constituency which Senator Ndume represents in Borno, called Buratai, was also attacked. And it's been on his criticisms on the approach to fighting insecurity in that region as well. I don't know, it almost seems as though the terrorists have been emboldened to the point that they're attacking military formations and cantonments in Borno particularly. I don't know what could be done better. We've seen a relocation of the army chief to Benue. I don't know how much more security personnel can be relocated into those hot spots to somewhat curtail this growing resurgency of insurgents.
Okay. Let us look, for instance, what happened in the Niger Delta when they were this bombing of pipeline and securing pipeline. They gave it to a private security firm to take over this security situation in the Niger Delta. This Tompolo security, this town, what is it called? Town security. So
Tantita,
which is being Tantita, to secure the area. And Tantita, if you look at it, it's a local security firm that was taken in charge there, that was actually doing that. So if we can have such kind of security outfit in the north, this problem will solve. Not giving it to the military, because they have seen that they couldn't give. Why did they not give it to the military? Why did they not give it to the civil defense? Why did they not give it to the police? But they choose to give it to Tantita, and it has stopped at all. Gradually, insecurity in the Niger Delta, vis-a-vis blowing of pipelines and securing it has reduced. Not that it has eradicated completely, it has reduced. So such kind of security gesture can also be replicated in the north, whereby the people themselves actually come in and fight the security themselves, because they know those people who are accomplices and those who are actually causing this insecurity in the north. By so doing, it will stop. And to again, government should go after the sponsors of insecurity, because there are those who sponsored insecurity. They know them, they can track them and get those guys. When they get them at it, this insecurity will reduce.
Now, let's go back to the issues of macroeconomy based on the Naira. We've talked about production, and so far so good. The most evident production with the coming on board of a new industry has been the largest single train refinery in the world, the Dangote refinery. Now, in terms of that, there's also been the Naira for crude deal, which is supposed to strengthen the Naira and improve production. But so far so good in your assessments. Has this helped fix issues with the exchange rates?
It has not. But one thing you are going to look at, if you are talking about the oil sector, now, who are the players in the oil sector? Because you see the same people that are the same players in the oil sector. Now, if Dangote is buying crude, who is he buying the crude from? Is he buying it from Nigerian government, or is buying it from the multinational who drill Nigerians oil? But if Nigerians do not even have oil well now, because they have sold most of the oil well to multinationals. So those who sold to indigenous communities, persons, those persons have sold them because they are capital intensive. They have sold them to multinationals. It is this multinational that drill this oil. Now, you're not telling me after spending huge amount of money to drill oil, as you sell it to Dangote at a very cheap price, it's not possible. So the only way that these prices will come down is only when Nigeria begin to drill their own oil and not sell to Dangote locally. That is where the price of the oil will come down. But for now, it will not going to come down, because even those multinationals who drill Nigerian oil from the Nigerian oil well that have been sold to them at a very exorbitant price, we also want to make money from whatever business they are doing. So they will sell to Dangote even at the dollar level, irrespective of the fact that it's buying it in Naira. So it doesn't even mean anything. So the price of crude oil will not even come down, because even the cabal are still within there, the middlemen are still there saying that if you cannot sell below this price, if you sell below this price, we are going to do this to you. So Dangote is also very, very careful, because he's a businessman. He also want to make profit. So at the long run, see, the price will not come down except government remove their hand completely from this oil business and let the private sector take over the oil business, it will come down. But for now, it will not.
Now, there's also been the issue of BDC operators. Last year, there was a severe clamp down on BDC operators. There was also controlled approach towards dollar availability and selling to selected BDCs at a rate in order to somewhat unify the exchange rate. I don't know how you assess that intervention on the part of the government towards trying to fix the exchange rate gap.
So I think whether you sell to selected BBC operators, it will not even solve the problem. Why can't you send this money to the bank and ask the bank to give people dollars if actually if you profile me that this is what I want to do, then you give me the money, or let the bank help you to pay the transaction. For instance, if I'm traveling abroad, I want to buy ticket, let the bank help you to buy your ticket. If you want to buy goods in America worth 20,000, you tell us what you want to do with the money and the bank help you to pay. By so doing, this price of dollar will stabilize, because now you give it to individual go there to keep the money in his house or anywhere. At the end of the day, you also come about again to resell this dollar that he has collected from government to the BBC or to any other person. The price continue to increase. The only way that we're going to have stability in this in our currency is a situation whereby the banks are being given responsibility to be to help the individuals or corporate bodies to make transactions. For instance, if I want to buy goods worth $20,000 from China, I should be able to bring specification of those things I want to buy. The bank help me to do the transaction to those companies, and those goods come. So by so doing, the price of the dollar will come down. But if not much that these individual transactions are taking place, how there is criminality within the transaction. So such criminality will also continue to make the price of the dollar continue to increase. So it will not come down. It will also continue to increase, most especially this very period whereby the government is looking into 2027 general election. So the price of dollar is going to continue to increase.
Now, when we talk about strengthening our currency, there's always one conversation that gets swept under the carpet, and that is the conversation on cryptocurrency. Beyond the fact that the federal government under President Muhammadu Buhari then looked at having a digital exchange in terms of the Naira, conversations on having cryptocurrency back some of the transactions that we need have been left to the sidelines. Do you think that the government at this point needs to explore the avenue of inducting cryptocurrency into the exchange market in Nigeria and legalizing transactions in that regard?
I think that whatever thing that is possible that the government have to do now in order to strengthen the Naira, I think they have to do it, most especially using this cryptocurrency or other currencies that other parts of the world are using. Because most Nigerians who are actually involved in the trade, cryptocurrency trade, whereby they buy goods and services, and it's also be used as a medium of exchange. So if that can be replicated within the Nigerian economy, it will go a long way in helping the Naira to strengthen the Naira, because now most people who are also use that have actually been involved in use of Naira will now migrate to use of cryptocurrency. And once that is done, I think it will help us a lot to stabilize the Naira against the dollar, and make sure that most illegal activities, that is informal activity within the country, will not be able to expand. Because once informal activities are actually expanded and that is being regulated by governments, I think it will go a long ways in increasing the livelihood of people, and also help us to stabilize the Naira.
Now let's move on to another issue that has drawn a lot of concerns and tears to the faces of Nigerians. In 2024, one of the most devastating natural disasters talked about in Nigeria was the Maiduguri flood. In 2025, yet another state in Nigeria has been affected by flood, Niger State, and in particular, Mokwa. Now, in light of this flood, there have been directives by the National Emergency Management Agency to have persons in these flood-prone areas relocated. But the challenge is that this morning, there are reports making the rounds that some of those residents have rejected the evacuation plans by their governments. I don't know how you look at the issue on ground and how it should be best addressed.
Most of those citizens, they understand the what government does, because the government are not honest. So they will prefer to die than relocate to another place. Because if they relocate to another place, will government come to their aid? Government will not come to their aid. They will abandon them there. So they believe that it is
But on the
better to
value
die.
for life in Nigeria, do you think that most Nigerians, we've been accused of this even when we have incidences of tanker spill, and people tell you it's because they are hungry that they rush into danger head on. If you have persons who should place value on life, even if they have doubts about the sincerity of government, do you think that they should prioritize life first, particularly life of their children? Because if you look at some of the numbers counting from the disaster in Mokwa, more women and children are the ones who have died.
But if you look at it, that's just what I'm telling you. They don't even care. What they care is just today. They don't look at tomorrow, because even their life today is not better. So why do you want to push them to another place? They don't. Nobody have trust on the. Okay, you just told me about the tanker explosion. That if irrespective of recent attack and continuous explosion of tanker, people will also go there to go and collect fuel from tanker. People are hungry. People have no hope in Nigeria, and based on that, they want to do anything. So why do you want to relocate me from my village to another community? Even at this place, I have no hope. And where I'm going, what is the possibility that I will have hope there? So the best thing for me is to die where I am than moving to a place where I know that there is no hope. Because here, I believe there may be little hope for me, and in the other side, there is no hope. So for an average Nigerian, they will not move. They want to remain in their place and die there instead of being taken away, then later being abandoned by the government. Look at those in the IDP camp that government relocated from the conflict zone to the IDP camp. Today, have they been able to come back? No. In fact, their life has been worse than what we were in the IDP where they were living in their communities. So most Nigerians now do not even believe in our government. So what they believe is that it is better we die in our community here than to leave this place to go to a place where government has us to stay, because government will never take care of them, and in that place they are, the government will always abandon them.
Now, in moving to the approach in terms of ecological fund, whilst you are, basically entitled to your opinion, the challenges with the provisions of ecological fund, particularly in Niger, reports say that prior to the floods, there were monies released by the government for flood-prone areas, and even after which these floods have occurred again, the governor has also talked about earmarking 1 billion naira for the victims and 7 billion naira for road constructions. How do we hold government accountable in being transparent in the use of ecological funds and other funds earmarked for flood control?
I think one of the things, one of the problem we have in this kind of when they said money was approved is that, one, are we actually sure that that money was approved? If the money was approved, who was the money disbursed to? How many people got the money? How was the money being used? So those are the issue. Now, if actually money was approved, and for instance, my own family got ₦1 million, and it's okay now, move to so place, and I know that if I stay there within 1 year, 2 years, that money will be enough for me, I will move. But when I know that, you see, it has been alleged that most money that is being given to citizens to move is not even enough for them to move. But because of the influx of middlemen along the line, maybe governments will approve ₦1 million per families. From those families, somebody there that is in charge of giving them the money will not give them peanuts. Then call medias, they will televise them, they will dance and do so on and so forth. How many people actually got the money? That is another thing. How many of them got the money? If you look at it, very few persons got the money, and those who got the money they give to them was not even enough. So the only way to hold government, government has a responsibility to move directly to those persons and give them the money directly and ask them to go. They have, instead of moving to the state governor, or they have an agent. There should be an agency like NEMA. NEMA should move straight to the states where those floods are, count numbers of houses or count numbers of families, and give them the money directly and ask them to leave. Instead of giving to the state governor will not approve a committee. That committee will not be in charge. From that, before the money gets to the citizens, or the indigenous who have been affected, everything will go down. So the best way for these kind of things to happen is for us to have an assessment of the indigenous or those who live in various communities, know how many they are. After knowing that, then the money is being given to them directly and ask them to go. So government can even send them the money directly from the central bank or from any other organization other than giving to the state. The state now form a committee. From this committee, we now form another committee. from that committee. No, 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 no. So it has never worked, and this thing will not work in Nigeria.
Away from palliatives, talking about monies earmarked to carry out flood control projects, the building of counter dams and other structures to mitigate when waters are released from dams, as used to be the case in some instances. How do you also ensure that you follow this checkers like you have also highlighted in terms of palliative disbursements?
Again, please repeat again. I didn't hear you very well.
My question is on monies earmarked for flood control projects. Okay. Some causes of floods in Nigeria have been attributed to the release of waters from surrounding dams. Conversations have been on the need to have counter dam structures in place. Whilst over time, there's also been some debates on the monies earmarked for such projects. How do Nigerians hold government accountable to assure that these counter dam projects are completed?
One of the things, if you look at those projects that government, not necessarily state government, actually give, who do they give those projects to? They give it to their families, they give it to their friends, they give it to their political members of their political parties. So when you do that, what are you expecting? You expect an abandoned project, you know, not until government continue to do the right thing. This kind of thing will continue to happen. We're going to continue to get these things wrong. They should do open bidding. Government should have a program. They should have a program that is maybe periodic programs, like from this from the first year, second year, third year. These are the things we are going to do, and by so doing, they will roll out a program that in such a way that they will they will agencies like these civil society organizations that are in charge of tracking government money do open bidding for companies to come and bid, and the best company should be given the access to actually build those dams, and they should be given a timeline to actually do the work. By so doing, those companies will be able to do them. Give to people that are willing and that have the capacity to deliver. Don't give to political friends. Don't give to families. Don't give to political leaders. These projects given to this person do not even come to light, because at the end of the day, you will not be able to fight them. For instance, if you give a project to an emir and the emir did not complete the work, what are you going to do to the emir?
But like we always remind our guests on the program, as much as they're entitled their opinions, we also approach matters from civility. And allegations is made by guest participants on the show are not a position of ADBN Television as it concerns the issues in the news. That being said, this is where we draw the curtains to a close on the dialogues making the rounds in that regard.